Okay, well, welcome, everybody. I would like to welcome our next guest to Aaron's Opinion. It's been a while since we were in contact, and I have to admit, to start the episode, I forget who contacted who. Quite frankly, I forget how I even begun talking to Tony Birch, Anthony Birch from Human Science Fiction. Let's get into it then. So, first of all, welcome. And what is human science fiction? Go for it.
That's a podcast started as a site after I had produced two plays, actually, quite some time ago, two radio plays. And so it was a way to get more exposure to them. I discovered trying to promote them on YouTube and that kind of thing just absolutely did not work. And since I've been had a podcast address, which is human hyphen science hyphen fiction.
Click the link. Click the address is click the link in the description for more information.
Yes, right. Okay. Yeah, it's hyphenated and it's kept at kept.
So please send me that link and we'll just put it in the description. Okay, so
Okay.
next. So what is the content of human science fiction?
Well,
I love science fiction, by the way.
yeah, I wrote some radio plays that concentrate more on the human dimension, human relationships, more than on the science fiction part of it. So that's why I call it human science fiction. And these plays got their genesis through my interaction with a friend of mine who was an actor in New York some years ago. And I said I wanted to make a film. And we talked about it for a number of months. And he said, you know what, this is just never going to happen. You need a boat, you need all these actors, we need locations. It's going to cost thousands of dollars. Why don't you just turn it into a radio play? And so I knew nothing about radio plays. But he was very helpful. I got a little audio recorder, an Olympus audio recorder, and we got some people to start sit around a table in my wife's office, and we started to record it. When I finished it, the college radio station where my wife is a administrator picked it up and played it. So that was good, but I wasn't all that happy with it, honestly. So I wrote another one, and then I recruited some actors from the college and other people that I had run into. And that one worked out pretty well. That one got played on a Minneapolis radio station. I sent that in and got played there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So let's dig into the specifics, and I have a follow-up question. So guys, we don't know each other at all. Um, I must tell you, I really want to take this time to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sending me that video. That was really cool. Like no one has ever done that for Aaron's Opinion, for me to send in a YouTube video. That was just perfect. That was awesome. That was so
Yeah.
cool.
Well,
So my question though is, have you, because it seems oddly familiar to something else I've already recorded, have you already listened to my content before, this episode before?
Uh, well, I have since you contacted me. I've listened to a couple of things. I know you interviewed some voice actors and you had the blind actress from Denmark. I haven't heard her yet, but the lady who traveled around the
Mm,
world. And I was very intrigued that you were actually doing something with voices and voice acting and radio and everything. And when you contacted me, actually, I wrote back to you and said, well, I don't know how I can help you for your focus on service to people with visual impairments,
hmm
except that, well, I did these radio plays, and the process of doing it, I I learned a lot. I'm of course not an expert. I'm totally self-taught, but I had all these
Sure.
clips. I had all these audio clips that I found, and it was a very tedious process. And I thought I could explain how I found these audio sources, how I worked with the actors, how I worked with my composer, and how I made it all together, how I worked it together.
It's most definitely relevant and tremendously appreciated in the blindness community because we love podcasts,
Yeah.
and radio dramas are Really, really, really cool. Basically, guys, so I'm almost 30 years old, but for the younger listeners, although you do have to be 18 to listen to Aaron's opinion, but for people who are younger than me, a radio drama is basically a combination between a play and a podcast, and they're really cool. There's a lot of them that go into great detail. You can include stories, you can have chapters, you can really create quite an environment. So I would recommend, if you would like, you can listen to Scott and I had a cabinet meeting. Did you hear that one? That's where
No, I didn't hear that one.
I spoke. Okay, because I spoke to Scott Wheats many months ago from Dread of Night Radio Theater. That's what it's called, and we had a great conversation about this very topic about you know radio audio dramas like these. So when you
Mhm.
said that you do that, I thought, oh, this is perfect,
Yeah.
because this is a topic that fascinates me, and so
Well, good.
what is the content of these dramas? In other words, what is the focus? What is the central character? What is your central? In other words, as a screenwriter yourself, what do you like to focus on and write about?
Well, as I said about human relationships, so it's always, I only have two, but in the future, what I plan to do more, it's going to be a love relationship is going to be central. So how the people struggle with each other and how they come together, how they come apart. I like tragedy. Aristotle uh,
Mm-hmm.
prefers tragedy above all else. And by the way, not that it's really important, but I do have a PhD in philosophy, but I earned
Excellent.
it, but I earned it 20 years ago, so it's very rusty right now. But I think Aristotle and an awareness of his idea that you must structure a drama to have, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but he calls it six components.
Well, tell
And
us.
well, these are the plot, of course, what happens, the events,
Mm-hmm.
which he says is really the most important aspect, not the character. The character is only the vehicle through which the plot is exposed. So the character is important, but those are a focus on contemporary films a lot. So you have people searching for self-respect, searching for love, searching for redemption, revenge,
Mm-hmm.
completion, success. And these are all very American and very, very important. Um, the third category that he talks about is something that you don't hear too much about. It's thought. And the thought that Aristotle describes is those things which are said by a character which pertain to things of ultimate importance. So, for example, in my play, Upon Sacrifice, I have one of the characters say, duty is the soul of man. So it's kind of a little Shakespearean, it's a little self-indulgence on my part
Excellent,
to
excellent.
have my
So
character.
you're kind of blending. I mean, I'm already getting more interested. So basically, you blend and you combine your knowledge, your academic knowledge, your interest in screenwriting, and then the modern world that we live in today, where we have these podcasts and this
Mhm.
need to produce audio content for so that someone can have something to listen to, right?
Right. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I completely subscribe, and
Yeah.
it is truly it's really important. I think that the younger people like me are really really struggling right now. Even the young people like me that have a job are still struggling with what to do when we don't have a job because there's not it's quite an equation. There's not enough to do if we don't have a job, and then we have a job, and which is fine, but then
Yeah.
so, this is why we need audio content. So the other thing that is very appealing to blind people about this topic is the way and and when you go back and listen to the episode that I recorded many months ago, you'll hear that I focus a lot on the role that sound can play
Yeah.
and the certain things that you can do
Yeah.
a tremendous amount with sound.
We're
I think you
we're
have
well,
some.
well, well, we're on the right track then. I hope this all works because I have 18 or 20 sounds here and I've got three or four no, maybe 8 to 10 pieces of music to listen to. So,
Well, let's go through the ones that you feel are the most relevant. You can give a little bit of a description for the listener, and
okay.
then at this point, I will actually to help the audio. I'll mute my side of the microphone to reduce it, and then you can certainly get into it. All right?
Okay.
Okay. So go if you would like, dig into some of your audio there. Go for it.
Okay. All right. Well, the first things that I want to share with people are some of the things that you can do with audio tracks. And I mentioned I had this cheap recorder, but I also use Audacity. And if you're familiar with that, that is a free audio editing program. And it allows you to do a lot of things, like you can modify voices. So, for example, I have this voice transformation thing that I want to share with you. This is the same actress playing her own daughter and herself. So we'll listen to this piece of dialogue, and then we'll hear it later when I get to the complete production. So here it goes.
Aw, Mom, I said, time for bed. Tell Cortana to stop the music. Nobody else is going to bed. Cynthia isn't going to bed now. Kapil isn't going to bed now.
Okay, so, Mom, that's how she said it, but then I changed the frequency so that it sounds like a child. So now I have another one where I have my actress playing a part with myself in an echoey room, and we're doing a run of this is the first rehearsal of Orfeo, a section from Orfeo. So she's talking, her name is Ninki, and she's talking with Ortho. And let me see if I can get this playing.
What's the CEO?
Oh, wait.
I was in the Tesla compressor room doing maintenance when Ortho called to me.
Sad. Some hotshot from upstairs here to see you.
What?
Some Ensign B wants the CEO. He looks like a genetic engineering special. You gotta be in trouble.
Okay, now that was me and Allison. Now listen to this, the same take after I've modified it with Audacity to deepen my voice.
I was in the Tesla compressor room doing maintenance when Ortho called to me.
Sad. Some hotshot from upstairs here to see you.
What?
Some Ensign B wants the CEO. He looks like a genetic engineering special. You gotta be in trouble.
All right, so I think you can appreciate that that's a little different. Okay. Forgive me with all this clicking here. I've got to make sure I'm okay here. Okay, now here's another one. And this is a modification of myself. I wanted to have a female-ish computer voice, which I called Cortana. And this is me through a modified voice.
Ensign Beam has fainted. He insisted on full speed. Please assist him.
Okay, so I don't know. I think you probably would not have recognized that that's me. Okay. Now we have another one that I made just for this show, just for you, Aaron. I did a little take of myself saying something normally, and then with the echo, which I also like to use in, we talked about the importance of sound. So this is one of the importance of sound. If you have an echo to something, it's like a memory or like a dream. You know how they do that in shows and in plays and so on. If they're in films, they do that. The voice starts to echo. So it's a memory, The other one that I have is the helmet voice, which I think is very cool. They use that in science fiction a lot. So here we go with that. So first regular, then echo, then helmet.
Returning to base. Mission completed.
Returning to base. Mission completed. Returning to base. Mission completed.
Okay, I think the last one you could see that was the helmet voice. Okay, do you want to ask me any? I think I'm going to stop there because I have a new topic there. Do you want to ask me any question now at this point?
Yeah, that's really, really, really excellent. That's very useful for a lot of things. I mean, you could really, with this new technology, with Audacity, you could really reduce the number of actors that you need to hire for a given production. That's really powerful. Yeah.
It is. It's interesting. I'm not totally happy with the child voice, but let me tell you, trying to get a child actor is it's very difficult. So, but the ortho that I did was pretty good, I thought.
Sure, definitely. Yeah. Okay. Yes, go ahead.
The next topic that I had in mind was how to work with an actor. If you want to hear that, I can show you some. I have 3 samples here where I could show you how I'm working with the actor.
Definitely.
Okay. So the first thing is you have to, so the character in Orfeo is a very tense, completely uptight all the time, almost all the time, all right? And he's absolutely driven. And he suffers from immense internal distress. He just always, his heart and his mind are breaking all the time. And I watched a play at the college, and it was The Great Gatsby. And there was this one actor who, he wasn't the star. He was an extra character, but internal pain, let me tell you, you could feel it across the room. So I came up to him after the show. I said, man, I have this idea for a play where a character suffers internal pain, and I think you're the right one for it. and he was. And this is a very intense speech that goes on for 45 seconds almost that he has to do. And this is one of the takes from it. And later on, if we get to it, you'll hear him do this with the music and all of the intensity that I amplify this with by having the setting and the music. So here's just his voice.
All day I coded variable upon variable, condition upon condition, action upon action, speech patterns and variations without end, driver upon...
Uh-oh. Sorry, what happened? Oh, I know. I think I know. Try that one more time.
Driver upon driver that sought out the psionic field, felt its pulse, let life upon life to the hologram that would walk and talk as a human being, that would live and breathe in the holographic space of reality and become a brother in the flow of life. In all the swirling, massive ideas that cascaded around me, I never forgot you. And I did it all for you. Remember that. And then, one day, I was done.
Okay. So I got the intensity from him. Then you want to be sure that you can work with somebody. So, and actors can be ornery. So you got to make sure that they can work with you. So here's an example of me coaching him and him doing several takes for me.
Okay, 177, Avery supplying various how we talked. 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 How about this? Real slow. How we talked. Slower. How we talked. A little faster. How we talked. How we talked. How we talked.
Okay, so
Really, I loving this, absolutely loving this episode. This is the type of stuff. I'm just going to say this right now. Typically, let me interrupt myself and say, yes, I should say this off the air, but I'm going to say it now. Secretly, one of my dreams is to get into some voice acting and to have some role in this industry, as far as broadcasting, podcasting, theater, that type of thing. So I'm totally loving this, and I totally love the way you're working with this actor. This is really, really, really cool, because it's not every day that we get to hear how directors work with actors like that. That's really cool. So how much, I guess I would wonder, no matter, it does depend on the actor, it depends on you, the director, it depends on the environment, I get all that, but like, how much muscle and energy does an actor need to have to be able to maintain, to be able to really push through and really push out convey all of the emotion that you want as a director? In other words, how can you tell who's really worth their salt when you're dealing with people anyway?
Well,
Do you understand?
kind of, but I think in this particular case, I already knew that he was going to work out. I then asked who he can work with. So that was a very important thing in all the other stuff that I did. If the two people are talking, they have to have worked together before, and they have to have a certain chemistry, and they have to be able to jump on each other's lines. So before one person is finished, the other one is already there, and it has to have that natural flow. So I think some of it, I'm not really answering your question very well. I wish I.
No worries. This is a perfect answer. Go right ahead.
So, honestly, a lot of times I just let the actors do it. Like Avery Bound, who was the actor, he even called me up and said, "I want to do more takes. I'm not happy with it." So sometimes it's like that. It's not me saying you need to do it more. Sometimes it was that. So they have to want to produce a good product. It's not just a job for them, but they really want to do something. I'll give you another example. I had one guy who was recommended by one of my stars in the other play, Pawn Sacrifice. I said, "Who can you work with in it?" And she said, "Well, I can work with this younger guy that I know, but I said, "Yeah, but I need somebody who's like 35 or 40." So I called this kid up, and we did some rehearsal over the phone and over YouTube. I said, I don't think it's going to work. I'm sorry, you just don't have the right voice. So he calls me back the next week. He says, "I've been working on it." And he talked to me in a voice that was completely different that he had generated just for this part. And it blew me away. You would never know it's the same guy, and you would never know he was 19 years old. So yeah, you got to have actors who want to do it.
So in the end, you work with the actors a bit, but in the end, they have to decide if they're going to fit it and if they're going to make the play happen. In other words,
I think that's my view. Yes.
For the most part. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's incredibly interesting. Okay, well, really good. So what other sounds or what other examples?
Okay, well, we're just getting started. I got lots. Let me see what I got here. I'm not entirely sure what this is. Let me play it and see what it is.
Lucinda.
Oh, yeah.
Lucinda. The name fills the mind, fills the senses.
Okay, that's Avery doing, this is the opening of the play. So it's an echo. The whole thing is a memory. The entire play is a memory because you start with an echo and you feel the tension in this character from the very first syllables, right? So
yes, definitely.
So now what I did was I went to a musician friend of mine who wanted to get started in doing film stuff, and now he is doing some film stuff. And I explained the play to him. It's about a man searching for Lucinda. I read the first line to him, the first couple lines, and we talked for a few minutes, and probably within just a few minutes, he came up with this theme, which is the theme of the play, which I'm going to play for you now. Oh, darn. Sorry. It's that same thing again. I'll fix it. So the theme is very haunting, very moving, very slow, and you can almost hear Lucinda, like just this longing. Then I told my friend, that's not all. I need something else as well. I need it to, here we go. Sorry, clicking around here. Okay, I also need something where he's doing something very energetic, and this is what he came up with. Okay, so I'll show you later on how that fits in. I wanted an opening. Actually, he came up with this idea, so it's really more him than me. And here's the opening to the play. Okay, so you have this big noise at the beginning, and then it glides right into the theme. I told him I needed some transitions between scenes, and he suggested this. Okay, so I didn't use it. I didn't like it. And I made every transition is just a segment of the main theme. So that's a preliminary view of all the sounds and the music that I had for Orfeo, that play. And then I had to go find some sounds. I had all these different locations where I wanted, and because of time, I'm gonna skip through some of them. I got like 10 or 12 of them, but I'll just do some of them. All right.
Sure.
Or maybe I'll do all of them, but just keep it short. Let me just see what we got here. The first part where he starts on walking on 5th and 42nd. So I have a mind map of where he is. Takes place in New York City. So you're following him through New York City. So he starts off at 5th and 42nd. So I found this on Freesound. So freesound.org is the place to go. You can search for any sound. I mean, when I wrote to you, I said, let me just type in hippopotamus, hippopotamus came up, So here's the sound that I found that is a nice city sound. Okay, cars, people walking, everything. Next place I needed was an office. I found this. Oh, sorry. Go back to the beginning. Okay, typing and talking, all that. Next place I needed was a convention center, so I have a crowd outside in a city. And then I have a winter sound, walking. By the way, these sounds are all kind of background, but they help you to suggest where you are. So when you're following the character, the sound that orients you where you are starts off fairly loud and then it diminishes. Here's the next one. Oh, this is a clever one. So I needed, let me explain something about the plot that I should have explained a little bit more. Orfeo is about this programmer who's named Freddie C, who's developing holobots, and holobots is my own word, my own sci-fi word for my creation, let's call it, is a projected hologram into a space that you can't even tell it's not real. So it's not a real person, but it looks like one, but it can be running on its own software and looking and acting and talking like a real person. And Freddie is trying to make the most realistic holobots in the world. You can tell if it's a holobot or not if you're in New York and you're talking to somebody and you think, well, maybe this person is not real. You put your hand through him and it will make a noise. You can go right through him because he's not there. He's just an image. And when you do that, in my imagination, it made a sound of some kind. And I found this sound. Guess what this is? This is the sound that oh gosh, what's the name of it? The sword in Star Wars makes. The lightsaber makes. So this is a lightsaber sound. Here we go.
Perfect.
So that's a person putting his hand through a holobot. Next place was a cafe. I found this great cafe noise. I love that cafe with the crashing, throwing knives and forks and plates around. This one was spring, and I had to have a whole year. I had to have spring, summer, fall, and winter. So I had to find sounds that worked for that because I wanted I mentioned one of my themes is seeking love over a long period of time. And so I had to have my characters go through an entire year. So you can see in the different scenes how the relationship develops. So here's spring. And here is summer. That's a tennis ball being hit. And here is the fall. Okay, I skipped around a little bit in that sound, but it's big wind, right? In the winter. That one was very interesting because the recorder says it's Moscow City, Winter City at night from the second floor. It's snowing and there are cars passing. That's his description of the town. It's beautiful. I needed a church bell, so I found this. Lots of church bells on Freesound. I needed a subway, and everyone will recognize this sound. I said everyone, I meant people who've been in New York City. Okay, and we get toward the end here. I needed waves and gulls. And gulls. Okay, so those are all the sounds that I needed. And now I can go back and get those in the context of the play itself. So we can start at the beginning, get our big sound in the introduction. I have a narrator explain some stuff.
New York City, 2055. The city is now the holobot capital of the world. Holobots, holographic projections controlled by computer programs, roam the streets. The 3D images are nearly indistinguishable from human beings.
Okay, so let's see. And here is my beginning. Remember, I did a Freddie saying Lucinda, 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 and we have the music and the echo and all that. Here's that little section.
Lucinda, Lucinda, Lucinda. The name fills the mind, fills the senses, yet she blinds me. I see her. No, her absence. There.
Okay. He's already, you see how desperate he is. You feel it. You feel the longing. Hopefully, I'm describing what I hope people think. Maybe, maybe they don't, but.
I definitely do. No, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Here is my street corner. And the first sound that I played.
Where am I? On 42nd Street. Already? How can that be? I was nearby. I must have been nearby not long ago. No.
Okay, so that was the street corner and everything. The office.
September 8th, 2053, 9 a.m.
Well, Freddie, you come highly recommended to me. I trust you will produce excellent products for us.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Freddie gets hired by Kingor, and that's when he starts his quest for perfection in creating holobots. And it's not long before he gets a little carried away. I'm not going to reveal the ending or too much about the play, but you should know that much. Okay. And here we are at the city street filled with people. And let's see. Yeah. We'll have the part where where she meets the holobot and is a little confused as to whether or not it's a real holobot or not, or whether or not it's a real person. So I have to kind of explain this. You have to be really on your game as a sci-fi fan to catch this one. So Freddie has created a holobot, and he is hearing and seeing as the holobot, but he's not personally operating it. He's watching an automated holobot do its thing. And the holobot initiates this conversation with this girl that is outside of a convention. Have you ever heard of Dragon Con?
Honestly, no, have not.
Dragon Con is one of the biggest science fiction conventions in the world. So
well, there you go. That is fine.
Yeah. So the conversation starts, and then Freddie is thinking to himself, wow, I'm very attracted to this girl. I'm going to turn off the automation and turn my voice on and start talking to her as a real person. So we can get this little piece of drama going here. Okay, wait a minute. Here we go.
Hello. What is happening here?
Don't you know? You look like a New Yorker.
I am sorry, I do not know.
Well, stranger, it's DragonCon.
I'm not familiar with DragonCon. Perhaps you are interested in multi-level marketing opportunities.
You're a bot! Goodbye, bot.
No, wait, it's me. I did not mean to say that.
I said goodbye, bot.
I'm not a bot. I'm Freddie. Well, I was sort of a bot for a while there, but now I'm really talking to you.
Your voice sounds different. You're malfunctioning. But I said goodbye, bot. If you don't leave, I'll report you.
I'm Freddie. Really. I'm at my desk in the new Empire State Building.
No, you're not. You're right here. A holobot. My hand goes right through you.
Through the hologram, yes. But I'm really talking to you. I turned the bot's personality off so I could just talk to you. I'm a real person, just using a bot to hear and see.
Okay. Maybe. But why would you want to do that? And isn't it like spying? How do I know I'm talking to a real person if some people are bots and some people are not?
Come on. You can tell the real deal, can't you? Have you ever seen a bot do this before?
Perhaps you're interested in a multi-level marketing opportunity that can earn you thousands of dollars.
Well, no.
Okay, so
love it. Love the way you write. Love that scene. Yeah, I totally get it. That is perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
So good. Here's the cafe. And so he makes a date with her. Okay, so it's the real him, and he meets her at the cafe.
Hello. You must be Freddie. You look quite different.
Yes, but this is the real me.
Okay, so that's when the relationship starts, and let's love at first sight. What else? And remember how I said, Avery, you got to do this how we talked. I need a better take. So finally, this is what we ended up with. He's recalling now, this is sort of like a memory within a memory, a whole year of when they talked as they walked around. So this is the beginning of that.
How we walked these streets, how we talked. How we talked. April 11th, 2054.
What's going on? You're late again.
Okay, so that was going from there into the spring with the birds that I had found the sounds for. The next one is the summer. Yeah, the summer 13th. You have to bear with me. I have to find all these things. And
No worries at all. No worries, of course.
Bryant Park is always so beautiful this time of year.
It's like a tranquil island in a sea of trouble, too.
I'm going to start that again.
2054.
Bryant Park is always so beautiful this time of year.
It's like a tranquil island in a sea of trouble, too.
Freddie, are you in trouble? You were saying work, not.
Okay, so like I said, it's subliminal. I didn't know if you could hear it, but I intentionally got to the point where that tennis ball was being hit in the background sound there as they're talking. Well, I think of it, and I know this may sound a little pretentious, but we mentioned philosophy. Okay, so one of the things that Aristotle talks about, there's 6 elements. One of them is melody. So melody, in my opinion, should not overpower. It should be kind of a background. And the same with the sounds, you know. It should provide a psychological setting. And that's the way it is in most like films of today and most other kind of audio productions. But it can be overpowering, like in Casino, for example, or some of these films that are basically almost like music videos. You know?
Sure.
So,
sure.
The acting and the dialogue disappears behind the sound. Anyway, let me see. Let's see. Here is the fall. Let's see what we got here. There.
Boy, it's cold. Are you okay?
I'm freezing. Come closer to me.
I'm always close to you.
I kind of like that line. She says, "Come closer to me." He says, "I'm always close to you," meaning psychologically, emotionally. And here we go. Is the last one in January.
This time I was getting worried.
I had an important.
There you are. This time I was getting worried.
I had an important phone call. Let's go this way. I want to go into St. Pat's for a moment.
Okay. There are many pathways to our destination.
Okay, so then I have him go to the church, and I think we get the bell here.
Take nerves from one place and put them in another.
No, they grow into the culture. From skin cells, I think?
Skin cells. Psionic field. Yes, it might work.
Okay, so actually, that's the epiphany moment. In a lot of dramas, you have an epiphany moment where somebody makes a crucial decision. So I have the bell ringing, and I have him coming to a sudden insight. And this is where the workaholic intensity plays itself out. The little speech that I played early on, where he has to be very intense, where he says, all day I coded and did this, and I built driver upon driver, and I worked like crazy. This is the final result, and I combined it with the music, the fast-paced music that my friend composed for me. So here we go.
Sexuality. All day I coded variable upon variable, condition upon condition, action upon action, speech patterns and variations without end. Driver upon driver that sought out the psionic field, felt its pulse, let life upon life to the hologram that would walk and talk as a human being, that would live and breathe in the holographic space of reality and become a brother in the flow of life. In all the swirling, massive ideas that cascaded around me, I never forgot you. And I did it all for you. Remember that. And then, one day, I was done.
Okay. Well, Aaron, I think we're almost out of time. Um,
Well, it's been absolutely a fascinating recording. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Of course, I have a question.
yeah,
So, since I already am loving what I'm hearing, how can I listen to this play
you
from
can
start
just
to
go,
finish?
yeah, you can just go to humansciencefiction.captivate.fm and
In other words, in other words, you publish this play on your podcast. In other
yes,
words.
yes.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Yeah, I think if I go to maybe if I go to your Facebook, is it on your Facebook page? If I go to your profile on Facebook, can I find
Uh,
your a link to your podcast through there? Or where are you on iTunes by any chance?
yes, it's listed there. If you go to any of the podcast providers and type in human science fiction, it's on all of them.
It's that one. So just go and type human science fiction.
Yeah, yeah, and
Excellent.
you should. I think it's the only. Yeah, it'll be there.
Perfect. Well, we are coming to the end of a truly fascinating episode as always. I always love to ask one great question to all of my guests. So if you can ask me only one question to see if I'm worth my salt, just to really make me sweat, what do you really want to ask me?
Wow. Well, what is your biggest daily challenge?
Sure. My biggest, daily challenge as a blind person is, of course, dealing with, society and dealing with the reality of work and life and what's to come. We have a lot of uncertainty around the world, and it can be at times a bit concerning. But I have found that podcasting is a great and truly a great hobby, and a great activity to connect to the world and to produce great stuff for other people to listen to. It's a really good thing to do. So, yeah, and that's what I can say for that. Sure. Hmm.
Good. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Okay.
So one final question. What is your biggest dream, biggest goal that you want to accomplish with these audio dramas?
Um, well, I want to. I'm working on a couple of things now, and one is a novella idea, and I want to finish that. I may end up serializing and reading it chapter by chapter, so that would be a podcast.
Hmm.
And it's a very interesting idea. It's sort of a twist on your traditional time travel type of thing,
Oh.
but it's a little different, and I'm going to be working on that hopefully in the next few months. So I'm also working with a friend of mine trying to help him get his book published. He has an idea for that. I love the thesis of this. Imagine the mixed martial arts of the future in which people fight in gladiatorial style to the death, and it becomes a worldwide television phenomenon. And it's all legal and everything, and Congress has passed special laws to enable this to be seen.
I can totally foresee that occurring. That is not at all fictitious to me. That would be very believable. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, those are the things I'm working on, and I hopefully get some success at it.
All right. All right. Well, and Anthony Birch from Human Science Fiction. Excellent episode. I will certainly everybody click the link in the description to learn more about him, what he does. And this was another great episode. And thank you so much for joining me. I wish you the very best of health. I wish everybody around the world the very best of health. And until next time, as we say here at Aaron's Opinion, do you know what our slogan is here?
Uh-oh, I'm sorry, I don't.
You don't? Well, that's good because I do. Help one person today, help a million people tomorrow.